All right, welcome back. You're watching NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Well, the Pakistan Cricket Board's demands to the ICC stem from a growing controversy ahead of the India-Pakistan match in the T20 World Cup 2026 scheduled in Colombo. The issue erupted after Pakistan indicated it would take part in the tournament but skip the match against India, citing political concerns and dissatisfaction with how the ICC handled Bangladesh's exit from the competition over security objections. The ICC warned that selective participation could attract financial penalties and legal consequences, pushing both sides into urgent talks. And following a high-level meeting between the PCB and the ICC officials, Pakistan placed 3 demands on the table. Well, these include better financial compensation and a fairer share of ICC revenues, assurances or concessions linked to future hosting rights and participation guarantees, and clear conduct protocols for high-pressure matches, including post-match interactions. The PCB argues that these demands address long-standing inequities and sensitivities surrounding marquee fixtures like India versus Pakistan. While PCB thinks it holds the leverage, the matter of fact is that the financial muscle is slowly weakening as Nepal, England and recent match viewership has over 50 million views, while Pakistan, Netherlands viewership was just about 40 million views. PCB chairman Mohsin Naqvi is expected to meet Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif of Pakistan to finalize the decision. Pakistan seems to think that its threat gives it leverage with the ICC and the tournament organizers. But the reality is that no ICC rule or financial obligation guarantees that India-Pakistan match will happen. The ICC can still impose penalties or restructure schedules, and viewership trends show that other matches are drawing massive global audiences. As things stand, the PCB may believe it has the upper hand, but final authority lies with the Prime Minister and the ICC's tournament framework. The tension remains, and while the board is making demands, the reality of tournament logistics, legal frameworks and fan interest means Pakistan's position is far from absolute. We'll continue to talk about this with some people who understand this space intimately. Mr. Sunil Yashkalra, cricket scholar, is with us on the broadcast. Mr. Vidhanshu Kumar, sports journalist and media academic, is also joining us on the show. And last but by no means the least, Mr. Adit Kothari, foreign affairs expert, is also with us on the program. Sunil, I'll begin with you. Thank you for being here. First up, there is a movie by the name of The Dark Knight, in which an employee of the Wayne Foundation or establishment goes and blackmails the management and tells them that I know who Batman is. If you don't compensate me, I'm going to tell that to the whole world. I think that's the same position that Pakistan also finds itself in. It believes that it has leverage. It believes that it can blackmail India and get away with it, but that's not going to happen. India has the strongest team, the strongest management, and let's not forget, and why, in fact, to put it in any other way, India is equivalent to the ICC today.
Well, absolutely, Vinny. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. You ask pointed questions, and here is the answer, and here is the observation. I'm sitting 15 kilometers away from the ICC headquarters, and I've been meeting people from Pakistan and Indian diaspora, former cricketers and coaches. What they say, Pakistan has lost their sense of direction. The Sting song, they've lost the sense of direction and progress and science and everything that goes around with it. And they've lost their faith in themselves. Now, coming back to far more serious stuff, Pakistan has begged, Pakistan has implored, Pakistan has gone out of the way requesting India to come and play, or ICC to increase their pocket share or wallet share. But what has happened? They haven't progressed. In fact, they've got the downward slide, southern slide in this, their ranking, their performance, their Zimbabwe Azam, their individual stars. So Pakistan has gone down drastically in the ICC rankings, and their demands and their ego have blown up, especially in the last 12 months you've seen, Vineet. So I take a step back. Pakistan today finds themselves languished at the bottom of the table. Point number 2, they're trying to find friends who they ditch after a week. Bangladesh, for example, because Bangladesh is boycotted and ICC will now come down heavily on them. And third, Pakistan has no allies up there. Fourth, the recent match between India, the Pakistan match, was free entry. The gate money for that match, the Sri Lankan Cricket Board ICC said it's free for everyone to come. Just imagine, here you don't get tickets for India Pakistan. 20% of the revenue comes from the India Pakistan clashes, and guess what? They are squandering uh, their position. So what they're doing is they're attacking the Indians and saying, now you compensate us for this particular thing. Vineet, over to you.
Vidhanshu, how do you look at this situation? Pakistan, if you look at the ICC T20 rankings, is at number 6 right now. But let me tell you that after the top 5 ranked countries in this format, it really doesn't matter where you stand, because Pakistan is sitting on the 6th in fact post with 238 points. And just for a reference, Ireland, Afghanistan and Zimbabwe have points which are very close to what Pakistan is boasting of at this point in time. I understand that if India boycotted and went to the ICC and told them that, look, we want to boycott that match, that would be a concern for the ICC to run from post to pillar and try and salvage this situation. I guess the geopolitics with which Pakistan operates has also seeped into their cricket.
Very much so. As someone who has actually reported in Pakistan also, when the last time a full-fledged Indian journalist delegation visited 2004 and 5 on those two series. So I have seen Pakistan cricket up close and personal. This is nothing but a loss of face for them. And you mentioned about the rankings, come what may. They had a scare against Netherlands, didn't they? And they may as well lose against USA and other so-called lower ranked teams. And they could be knocked out also. Forget about the way they just thought of boycotting the India match. They thought that they could raise a specter out of it, and it has come to naught for them. Talking about the geopolitical, it is a loss of face for Shehbaz Sharif, the Pakistan Prime Minister, very much so. And look at the cunningness. You mentioned about the famous movie, and look at the cunningness within the management also. Here is a PCB chairman who reports also is a minister in the Pakistan government. I suppose the interior minister, he reports to the Prime Minister. But the loss of face will happen via the Prime Minister. So you can as well understand the kind of murky situations the Pakistani people operate upon, and their cricketers, their administrators, their politicians, all of them. And so it's a big loss of face for Pakistan as well. And the kind of things, in fact, just taking a slight turn from here, the kind of things that the Pakistan Cricket Board discussed with ICC were also hilarious. For example, they said that, of course, you mentioned they want to play a lot of matches against India, all of them, so that they could also make some money. Again, the irony here is noted. They also said that, in the World Test Championship, we should have India versus Pakistan. Why India is not playing Pakistan? Look at this funny situation. The World Test Championship is not ICC. ICC, of course, under the ambit, only the final, the 5 days of it is what the ICC conducts. The rest are the bilateral series which are decided in your future programs, and then according to the performance that you do, the top 2 teams qualify for the final. So how would that also happen? Asking. So such kind of silly, hilarious things that they have been putting up at the ICC, and ICC held a gun at them and said, see, you have to give your decision in 24 hours. You don't have much time. You don't have time to haggle around like this. You have to decide in the next 24 hours, and only then maybe you will have a kind of face saver if you want to. And of course, all those things that they can lose if they actually go ahead, which of course was an empty threat. So I think it's a loss of face for Pakistani cricket in a big, big way. The administrators, the way they have been running this, they have to look no further than BCCI and probably learn from them, learn from the management. The cricketers could actually help their team go up maybe if they support positively, not in the way. So yes, likely you may hear in the next few hours ICC announcing this decision, and for Pakistan Cricket Board, nowhere else to go but to hang their heads in shame.
Absolutely right. Adit, how are you looking at the situation? Let's not forget that this is the same country, where a paratrooper on their Republic Day parachuted into the lap of the chief guest who was attending that particular event. Let's not forget this is the same country whose Prime Minister Adit very recently went on to say that, हमें तो बाहर जाते हुए शर्म आती है, because whenever we go abroad, हम सिर्फ भीख ही मांगते हैं.
Vineet, just after this, I'm going to send you a meme with Shehbaz
Please
Sharif
do.
next next to Donald Trump with a begging bowl. You are really going to enjoy that one. They are the butt of all jokes, and they took their strategic leverage way too far. We were just having a discussion before we began that I think they bit more than they can actually chew. They don't understand that, almost 80 to 90% of the financial control within the ICC sits with BCCI. So who are you really going up against? And, the ICC is already on record to say that, if you do not play the February 15th game, then, there will be financial repercussions to the tune of 35 to 40 million, which is in penalties, plus, the broadcasters, the loss that the broadcasters would suffer would have to be borne by you. So these are realities which the PCB cannot really, they cannot really mitigate. So there was, they had to claw back, either claw back or completely dismantle PCB altogether. Those were the only two choices staring at them at their faces. But they have to monkey balance. They have to do some sort of face saving, which is why initially they tried to put in the 5 conditions. Obviously, the 5 conditions, which are completely outlandish, were completely rejected by the ICC. Then followed the 3 conditions where they wanted bilateral cricket with India. They wanted more share of the revenues. They wanted more for Bangladesh as well. So I think one of the concessions the ICC may even agree with regards to Bangladesh. The financial repercussions on Bangladesh may not be imposed in Bangladesh. May even be compensated for having not played this particular tournament. So that aside, I think where the PCB is really playing the game is from a Pakistani military establishment perspective. February 8th was meant to be the PTI rally in Pakistan. What rallies Pakistanis best is a anti-India slogan. So the way they engineered everything with the India-Pakistan game and made it sort of an anti-India slogan ensured, they completely diffused that particular PTI rally. Also, February 12th, we shouldn't forget that there are Bangladeshi elections in the foray. So, playing to that particular sentiment that, we are your brothers, we are your older brothers or elder brothers, and, we are always there to look after you, irrespective of the geographical realities where, India is actually encircling you. Has connected some sort of sentimental notes with the Bangladeshi people as well. I mean, something that you can see on social media, something that you can pick up on ground as well. So that aspect, I think, the PCB has played their cards very well. But I think where they're going to lose extreme amount of face is with their own people. But having said that, 1971 they won, 1999 kabhi hua nahi. And 2025, despite 11 of their air bases being completely dismantled, they still think that they won. So this is a population which is completely living in denial, and they will continue to basically show themselves as living in denial.
Sunil, if this match, this fixture between India and Pakistan does not transpire, then approximately 4,500 crore rupees will be lost in revenues, and 70 to 80% of PCB's annual revenue from the ICC comes from sources like such. And viewers and guests, for comparison's sake, let me also tell you what the revenue of the BCCI is every year. It's at 2.5 billion, which is approximately 21,000 crore rupees, perhaps the GDP of a small state in Pakistan, or in fact the whole of Pakistan. The annual revenue of Pakistani cricket board, Sunil, is around 458 crores, which is around 2% of what the BCCI makes. The numbers do not stack up when it comes to Pakistan trying to show any kind of heft towards the ICC. Secondly, the contracted players that India has, on an average, they make about 7 to 10 crores annually. If you look at the Pakistanis, the highest that they make is a crore rupees annually. So obviously this disparity exists for a reason. Pakistan cannot at this point in time afford to upset Big Brother, and I don't mean the ICC.
Absolutely, I know who you're talking about. But let me just give you a perspective of where does Pakistan stand. Another anecdote, you put Karnataka Premier League and TNPL together, it's bigger than the size of the Pakistan League. That's a discussion aside. Remember the time of Neo Sports, Vineet, when you were prolific there. You actually went and interviewed several players. At that point of time, players had the cerebral value, they had the understanding, and they stood for a cause. And here, I mean, you only have a player, let's not talk even about Zimbabwe Azam, who only makes runs there, but take a step back. I mean, they got the entire thing wrong. How can you expect your opponent to shake hands and then complain about him or the team to ICC? Because it's not written in the law. They don't understand law and obligation. Point number two, they got something really wrong. In 1979, Sri Lanka opted out not to play for the first time against ICC because they didn't want to play Israel for the World Cup tournament qualifiers. Of course, they qualified 1979, but I mean, they had the choice. 1996, Australia didn't want to play. West Indies didn't want to come there because
And look what happened to the Sri Lankans when they decided to play in Pakistan. They were attacked by terrorists.
Absolutely. Now, this is what has happened. Now somebody in ICC actually wrote that letter to the Sri Lanka to issue it further. I have a fair knowledge on that letter, which implored them to reciprocate in the manner like Sri Lanka did that. And now, just imagine, they are asking for compensation. They're demanding tournament. How can you demand a tournament? It's like Yuki Bamri saying that I want to play with Novak Djokovic. If you don't get me to play with him, I'm going to not listen to you. I mean, it happens well in the Davis Cup because the World Cup happens in India and Davis Cup is like a national to national thing. But individually, it's a laughable matter that this is what has happened. They brought it down to a Saas Bahu serial. Now the sister-in-law will say this, they will say that. Oh my God, they've bought disrepute. I mean, now wait for the problems. They will go back with a face-saving thing saying that our victory. Even if they get imposed hefty fines, they'll say, oh, dekha, hum jeet gaye. This is not the way how cricket boards operate. Unfortunately, boards have been taken over by politicians, and politicians are calling the shots for their own elections and electoral.
You know what they need? They perhaps need an articulate player, like Rizwan, to negotiate with the ICC. And I mean that with a lot of sarcasm, so to speak. We have some breaking news coming in as well. The ICC has rejected 3 of those demands, including proposals for the resumption of bilateral cricket between India and Pakistan and a tri-series involving Bangladesh, Pakistan and India. This move comes after the Pakistan Cricket Board put forward several demands to the International Cricket Council during discussions over Pakistan's stance on boycotting their T20 World Cup match against India, scheduled for November 15th. With Hanshu, more demands on behalf of Pakistan, a trilateral series between India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. Next thing you know, they're going to ask, for another piece of India, some of which is already illegally occupied by them. What's to make of here? What should India do? What should the ICC do?
See, the ICC have clearly, as you have also reported right now, they have clearly said no. So what was the PCB looking at? So with the Bangladesh Cricket Board also there in the meeting in Lahore that just concluded, the PCB wanted that Bangladesh and Pakistan and India should play a trilateral series, and ICC clearly said, see, ICC cannot say anything to the BCCI. If it is ICC's tournament, maybe. So PCB said that, okay, there was this tournament last year, I think the Women's World Cup or something was happening in Bangladesh, which got shifted to Dubai because of the conditions there in Bangladesh. And so said, okay, maybe some ICC tournament could happen. Okay, but nothing in this trilateral series. So what is happening in this negotiation that happened? Whatever PCB wanted BCCI to do, ICC was clear, it's not possible, it's not their domain. I mean, they cannot ask BCCI to play trilateral series, they cannot have India-Pakistan bilateral series, ICC cannot force that, ICC cannot force the Indian team of players. There also exists a force majeure here. So if that is happening, the government has a stance.
Sorry to stop you, but another example comes to my mind of a country like Afghanistan, that asked for no favors, asked for no discounts or leeways, made a point through its performance.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is a country which is ruled by the Taliban.
Okay? Yes, let me finish. In fact, I was coming to this point. So the way Nepal and Afghanistan are performing, and they up their game with the support of ICC and BCCI, very much. Afghanistan is definitely the number 2 team in Asia right now, and Nepal, the way they England had to really do their utmost to somehow save that match. So we may see Bangladesh Cricket Board and Pakistan Cricket Board and per se their teams getting knocked out of these 8 or 10 kind of tournaments that we see at the world level. So it is a very really serious issue. I mean, for someone who loves cricket like me and you do, we love a good team, we love a good cricket, but not politics like this and self-destruction of cricket that is happening, that the Pakistani Cricket Board has done onto themselves. So yes, utter shame onto them, and what to say. I think Nepal and Afghanistan, keep an eye on them. And Afghanistan, you mentioned. I mean, look at what India and BCCI has to offer. If it is about cricket diplomacy, this Afghanistan team was given a home here in India, here in the Delhi NCR region for so many years. They played here when the conditions was not so good back home. They cultivated their team. This is what BCCI can do. This is what Government of India can do. They have been supporting Nepal cricket also. So you be good to us. We are very good neighbors. Of course, we are big. Our size is big. We play at the world level. We punch at the world level. But we do take care of our neighbors. It's not what Bangladesh Cricket Board is claiming. It is not what Pakistan Cricket Board is claiming. Look at Sri Lankan Cricket Board, how we have also always tried to help them, how we have helped, of course, Nepal and Bangladesh themselves. We have helped a lot. In fact, just the present regime, this makeshift regime is creating problems. Otherwise, BCB was also on the side. So I think good sense will prevail on to all to the others, but the Pakistan Cricket Board, and they are in for a huge shock in the next few months. You will see the kind of impact this will leave. This match goes on, the sport goes on, the game goes on, but the character will have an
we have
exit.
more breaking news coming in. A press conference by Mohsin Naqvi scheduled for 4 p.m. has yet to happen. Pakistan and the PCB may end their boycott after resolving issues with the ICC, but official confirmation is awaited from the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif. Fans and media remain on standby as the situation develops. Adit, coming to you, Pakistan needs to get rid of one thing if it wants to evolve. Pakistan needs to, in fact, eliminate just one problem if they want to, in fact, get around and make money. That's what most mature economies are focused on doing today. It needs to get out of its own way.
True. I mean, what the Pakistanis are playing today, it's ridiculous because, the end result was always predictable. So either they're going to have to play, and, now they basically set themselves up for self-sabotage at this point, where, even if they do decide not to play, you're basically ruining Pakistani cricket. Not only are you ruining Pakistani cricket, but the so-called hype around the PSL, the ICC and the BCCI are not going to let that flourish. I mean, if they were to boycott, hypothetically, the PSL is finished, it's doomed. I don't think any of the Sena country players are ever going to go for PSL, because they will ultimately then have to let go of IPL. They will have to let go of their contracts within IPL. And that's I don't see any player going through that sort of a suicidal operandi. So, what the PCB have done, they've basically destroyed their reputation. They have played their hand way too much because, Surya Kumar Yadav made this, press interview, I think last year during the Asian Championship, where he said that, rivalries hota hai between equals, not between a team which is number 1 or 2 and, somebody who's number 8, where the difference is, we've played 8 games and they've won 1 and we've won 7, and, on other instances, we played 18 games and they've only won 1 game out of the 18. So it's not the rivalry between the equals. So what is Pakistan really getting to? So they basically want more share of the revenues because, PCB is an absolute financial shambles at this point, and they need to get out of the shambles, which is what they try to play their hand. They wanted more share of the revenues, which the ICC has completely declined. So the only board which is actually going to benefit slightly out of this fiasco is probably BCB, which I think they are going to be grateful to the PCB at the end of it all.
All right, more breaking news coming in. Bangladesh Cricket Board President Aminul Islam, who attended talks in Lahore with ICC Vice Chairman Imran Khwaja, has asked the PCB to lift its boycott of the T20 World Cup clash against India. The request comes amidst ongoing discussions aimed at resolving tensions between Pakistan and the ICC, with officials awaiting final confirmations. Fans are keeping a close watch on any developments. Sunil, before we wrap up, what I really feel concerned about is Bangladesh, sprinting down the Pakistan road when it comes to taking their decisions, from a place of hatred and discomfort towards India, rather than prosperity as well as ascension in the game of cricket. Pakistan has produced a number of world-class players. They are World Cup holders as well. Bangladesh was yet coming up the ranks. They did have splashes of geniuses from some of their players time and again, but it had not peaked. It had not reached that zenith as India and Pakistan have had in the past. How do you feel about Bangladesh shooting itself in the foot by following in Pakistan's footsteps?
Absolutely, it's a sad day for Bangladesh. They remind me of a non-striker who's come to bat but gets run out because the ball has ricocheted from the bowler, and they found themselves without any fault of theirs back in the hut. And that's what has happened to Bangladesh in the last thing. The audiences have come down, their revenues, I repeat, the revenues have come down 17%, and these are the sponsorship money. And you must realize, for several years, Indian brands like Amul and others, Mother Dairy, they've actually funded them and funded their stuff, but they've realized that these are unruly mob of cricketers. 2015 onwards, when they started doing the Nagin dance, they've come back here, and it looks really sad. I think Bangladesh will find themselves ostracized everywhere. But Vineet, just a thought, Indian women play the B team of Pakistan on the same day, 15th, in Thailand sometimes. So I think it's a double standard. They've also played India under 19 boys. I think what they've done is they've taken Bangladesh to the beaten path, rosy path, and then left them to die. And I think they're just going to be terminally ill after this if they don't apologize.
All right. Well, according to reports, some Pakistan Cricket Board officials are reportedly in favor of the India versus Pakistan T20 World Cup match going ahead because, of course, that's how they get paid. The final decision will be taken after PCB Chairman Mohsin Naqvi meets Prime Minister of Pakistan Shahbaz Sharif. Fans and media remain on standby as the cricketing world wants for official confirmation, and that is, of course, going to be good. We get another opportunity to defeat Pakistan, and why not? Well, we've run out of time. But nevertheless, appreciate everybody who joined us. Sunil, Vidhanshu and Adit, thank you for your time. We take a short break now. Be right back.